Ever feel like you have big dreams but just can't find the energy to chase them? You're not alone. I used to think being lazy and ambitious were total opposites. But what if I told you some of the most successful people in the world consider themselves productively lazy? That's right. Warren Buffett spends 80% of his day reading and thinking. Bill Gates purposely hires lazy people for difficult tasks. But these are some of the wealthiest and smartest minds on the planet who have already achieved everything they wanted. Can you do the same? Stick around because I'm about to share how being lazy might actually be your secret weapon to success. Let's be real for a second. We all have those days when we just can't get off the couch, but our minds are racing with ideas and ambitions. That tension feels awful, right? But what if that tension is actually a superpower in disguise? The thing is, lazy people have a natural talent that go-getters sometimes lack. We find the most efficient path. We look for shortcuts, not to cheat, but to work smarter instead of harder. Take Jeff Bezos, for example. Did you know he follows what he calls the regret minimization framework? It's basically asking yourself, when I'm 80, will I regret not trying this? That's it. No complex formulas, just a simple mental shortcut. That helped him make the massive decision to start Amazon. He didn't overthink it. He found the simplest way to make big decisions. Or consider Steve Jobs and his famous uniform. Black turtleneck, jeans, and sneakers. Every single day. Why? Because he didn't want to waste mental energy deciding what to wear. That's productive laziness at its finest. He conserved his energy for the big stuff. Now I want to share some proven strategies that harness this lazy ambition effectively. Strategy 1, the 2-minute rule. David Allen, productivity expert and author of Getting Things Done, champions this approach. If something takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. Don't schedule it. Don't write it down. Just get it done. Why? Because the mental energy of tracking the small task is actually more exhausting than just doing it. And for us lazy folks, that's music to our ears. Less mental clutter means more brain space for the big ideas. This simple rule has a compound effect. Not only do you clear small tasks quickly, but you also build momentum. That feeling of accomplishment, however small, can energize you for bigger tasks. Richard Branson, founder of Virgin Group, swears by tackling small tasks first thing in the morning to build positive momentum for the day. Strategy 2, strategic procrastination. Now here's where it gets interesting. Not all procrastination is bad. Adam Grant, organizational psychologist, found that moderate procrastination can boost creativity. The key word is strategic. When you're working on a complex problem, sometimes intentionally stepping away allows your brain to make connections in the background. It's called incubation in psychology. This is why so many great ideas come in the shower or during a walk. You're not actively working, but your brain is still processing. That's why Bill Gates takes think weeks, where he disconnects from everything to just read and think. Albert Einstein was famous for this approach. When stuck on a problem, he would play his violin, allowing his subconscious to work on solutions. He called this combinatory play and credited it for many of his breakthroughs. Strategy 3, the 80-20 rule. This is probably my favorite. The Pareto principle states that roughly 80% of results come from 20% of effort. Wilfredo Pareto noticed this when he observed that 80% of the land in Italy was owned by 20% of the population. This principle applies everywhere. 80% of your productivity probably comes from 20% of your work time. 80% of your business results likely come from 20% of your clients. For us lazy, ambitious people, this is gold. Identify that critical 20% and focus there. Warren Buffett famously said his investment strategy is lethargy bordering on sloth. He doesn't make many moves, but when he does, they count. Have you ever wondered why some people accomplish so much while seeming to work less? This principle explains it. They're focusing on high-leverage activities. Gary Keller, author of The One Thing, built $1 billion real estate company by asking himself daily, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Now that's a question lazy, ambitious people can get behind. Strategy 4, automating everything possible. Lazy people make the best automators because we're constantly thinking, how can I never do this again? Bill Gates said, I choose a lazy person to do a hard job because a lazy person will find an easy way to do it. Tim Ferriss, author of The 4-Hour Workweek, built his career on this principle. He automated his supplement business so thoroughly that it required just 4 hours of management per week. Look at your daily tasks. What do you do repeatedly? Email responses, social media posting, research? there's probably an app, tool, or system that can automate at least parts of those tasks. Did you know that according to research from McKinsey, about 45% of paid activities can be automated using current technology? That's nearly half your workload that could potentially be streamlined or eliminated. Strategy 5. The power of deep focus. Cal Newport, author of Deep Work, found that focused, uninterrupted work is exponentially more productive than fragmented attention. This is perfect for the lazy ambitious. Instead of working 8 scattered hours, work in short bursts of intense focus. The Pomodoro technique suggests 25 minutes of work followed by a 5-minute break. Elon Musk, despite his workaholic reputation, uses this technique. He schedules his day in 5-minute blocks and focuses intensely during work periods. Then he plays just as hard. Are you seeing the pattern? These highly successful people aren't working around the clock. They're working smarter by being strategic about their energy. J.K. Rowling wrote much of the early Harry Potter books in focused sessions at cafes, often just 45 to 90 minutes at a time while her baby napped. Those concentrated bursts of creativity produced one of the most successful book series in history. The key wasn't endless hours of writing, but making those limited hours count. Wait, are you still with me? Here's something fascinating I bet you didn't know. Research from the University of Virginia found that daydreaming and letting your mind wander actually activates the brain's default mode network, which is crucial for creative problem solving and self-reflection. So those moments when you're staring out the window, that's not wasted time. Your brain is making connections that focused work can't achieve. Strategy 6. Setting impossibly low bars. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, talks about making habits so easy you can't say no. Want to work out? Start with just 1 push-up. Want to write a book? Write just 50 words a day. This strategy is perfect for the lazy ambitious because it acknowledges our resistance to starting. Once you've done that 1 push-up, you'll likely do more. But removing the psychological barrier to starting is everything. I started my fitness journey with a just put on your running shoes rule. That's something. Sometimes I just put them on and take them off again. But most days, once they were on, I'd think, well, I might as well go for a quick walk. And sometimes that walk turned into a run. Jerry Seinfeld used a similar technique to become one of the most successful comedians of all time. His don't break the chain method involved just writing 1 joke per day and marking it on a calendar. The key was consistency through minimal effort, not periodic bursts of intense work that can burn you out. Strategy 7. The art of strategic saying no. Warren Buffett once said, "The difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything." This might be the most important skill for the lazy ambitious. Every year is a commitment of your limited energy. Every no preserves it for what truly matters. Steve Jobs returned to Apple in 1994 and immediately cut 70% of their products. He knew focus was essential. When asked about his secret to success, he said, "I'm as proud of what we don't do as I am of what we do. I started applying this by asking simple questions before committing to anything new. Does this directly support my top priority right now? If not, the answer is no. My productivity skyrocketed when I stopped spreading myself thin." I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Are you ambitious but lazy too? What strategies have worked for you? Drop a comment below and let's chat about it. And if you found this helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that helps you work smarter, not harder. Until next time, embrace that lazy ambition. It might just take you further than you think.